Nepal, the landlocked Himalayan country, has always charmed visitors. The country's breathtaking landscape, unique flora and fauna, adventurous terrain, and rich culture and history have always attracted mountaineers, trekkers, and general tourists. Our intention of visiting Nepal was trekking. Of the three of us, two were visiting the country for the first time. Our destination was Langtang Valley to the north of Kathmandu. It is close to the Tibetan border and is dominated by the Langtang Lirung peak. To the south, east, and west of Nepal is India. So, there are several entry points to the country. We chose the Siliguri route through Kakarbhita. Though Kakarbhita is the transit point for tourists, it can be called a sleepy town. Tourists coming from Siliguri take a bus from here to either Kathmandu or Pokhara. It is advisable to exchange your Indian currency here because most of the exchange counters in Kathmandu do not accept Indian currency. Our halt in Kakarbhita was for a few hours, which we utilized to walk around the place, try the indigenous food of the Thakali community and the local brew, Raksi. With a full stomach and a happy heart, we started our bus journey to Kathmandu in the evening. It took us about 14 hours to reach Kathmandu. On the road, we had two food stops, one for the evening snack and the other for dinner. A man selling face masks got into our bus when it entered Kathmandu. We knew it was a dusty town and went prepared. When we got down at the bus terminus, it was around 6:30 in the morning, and we could see a veil of smog covering the town. We decided to stay near the Swayambhu that was 5 kilometers from the bus terminus. We were traveling light and decided to walk. On the way, we stopped at a small but warm tea stall to quench our morning thirst for a hot cuppa. We were lucky to find a budget hotel near Swayambhu and did not waste much time to freshen up. After a quick breakfast, we headed for Swayambhu. One has to climb 365 stone steps to reach the Swayambhunath Stupa. Along the stairway were many stalls selling stone jewelry, rudraksha, handicrafts and fruits. The place was full of monkeys. While the primates were busy playing and looking for food, the dogs decided to sleep peacefully under the sun. The Swayambhunath Stupa is a beautiful architecture with 4 entry and exit points. The shops selling colorful gems, traditional artifacts, and Thangka paintings add an exotic charm to the place. We were to meet our guide Shiva Adhikari the next day. Shiva is from a village in Pokhara. Besides being a guide, he is also a farmer. Shiva reached our hotel early the next morning. We were told that there was a bus to Syafru Besi, the base village, in 2 hours. We were not prepared to start the journey that morning. Nonetheless, we packed our bags and followed the guide. It was an 8-hour journey and the road was pretty treacherous. However, we got distracted by the views of the snow-clad Ganesh Himal and the Langtang peaks. When we reached Syafru Besi, the temperature had dipped to 6 degrees. The cold wind made our hands freeze and we were desperate for a glass of Raksi. And after freshening up, went to a local tea shop cum bar for a quick shot. At the dinner table, we met 2 more trekkers, one from Singapore and the other from Switzerland. They too were going to Langtang the next morning. We woke up at 5 the next morning and by 6 we were ready to hit the road. We already had our local permits to enter the Langtang National Park region. The entire trek was alongside the stream that originates from the Langtang Glacier. The first 40 minutes was on a motorable road, after which we crossed a suspension bridge to start our walk through the forest. After walking for about 5 hours, we stopped for lunch at a lodge by the stream. The view from the place was spectacular. The afternoon sun salved our low spirits and the sound of the gushing water calmed us. We realized how tired we were the moment we put our backpacks down. We stretched for a while and sat near the fire inside the wooden house where we were served food. The lunch was simple: local dal, rice and sabji with a spicy chutney. After resting for 30 minutes, we started our trek. The trail became challenging with high stone steps and gravelly paths. Our destination was the Lama Hotel at Rimche, where most trekkers stay for the night. We walked for about 3.5 hours and reached Rimche. We stopped at a lodge for rest. The Lama Hotel was another hour's walk, but we were tired and liked the lodge. The view of the mountain range was also clear from this place. The lodge had a common sitting room where all trekkers and guides gathered around the fire. We met the Singaporean trekker again. Her name was Audrey Long Wee Sang. She was traveling alone. The next morning, we woke up at 5. It was dark outside and the other guests were still sleeping. The cold was biting. But one look at the sky and we forgot about the cold. It was full of stars, so many that the sky was lit up. We started for Langtang Valley at 7:30. Initially, we had to walk through a forest trail. Then the gravelly path started. Quite often, we had to make way for the mules. Mules and donkeys are the only way to transport goods in these mountains. On the way, we met a cyclist from London. He was on his way to Kathmandu to repair his bicycle.
So it's a little bit quieter.
Your name, please?
My name is Sam.
So you are from which country?
London, England.
Okay, so we find it very difficult even to walk. How do you manage the bicycle?
It's been good, but you can see here the bars are snapped.
Okay.
So I just dropped out some stairs and then unfortunately...
You won't be able to ride it?
No, it's possible, just going to go very slowly. So I was planning to go right down to Besi today, but I think I'll stop maybe in Bamboo or perhaps the Lama Hotel.
Okay.
But no, keep going.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
And, take it easy. Thanks.
After an hour's lunch break, we continued walking. Though the Langtang village was not too far away, the path became difficult and we had to stop frequently to rest. At one place, we stopped for refreshment. There was something on the menu that piqued our interest. We ordered that. Sea buckthorn is a local berry and the warm juice is pretty refreshing. The juice rejuvenated us. We could see the Langtang village at a distance and continued walking. After about 2 hours walk, we reached our destination. The Mountain View Lodge where we were supposed to spend the night was simple but beautiful. The quiet village was surrounded by mountains. The sun called it a day by 5:30 p.m. The snow-peaked mountain at a distance turned golden in the twilight. It was getting cold and windy, so we freshened up and ran for the fireplace. Shiva, our guide, said he would take us to Kinjing Gumfa the next morning, from where we could start descending to Rimche. But 2 of us decided not to go and take rest the next day. One friend was excited about seeing the Gumfa. So it was decided that the guide would take him the next morning and come back to Langtang. We spent 2 nights in Langtang. Our young Tibetan host, Chering, was a lovely woman. We were surprised how knowledgeable she was about world affairs. So we would often have long conversations with her in the kitchen. On the second morning, we started our journey back to Rimche. We said our goodbyes to the host and exchanged phone numbers. We reached Rimche by evening and stayed the night at the same lodge. The place was swarming with trekkers. We relaxed that evening with a cup of warm ruxi. The next morning, we started descending to Syafru Besi. We had to be extra careful on the gravelly downhill path. By the time we reached our hotel at Syafru Besi, we were desperate for a hot bath and a warm cup of ruxi. So, in the evening, we went to a local ruxi bar. Audrey also joined us. The trek was over. The next day, we started for Kathmandu. The plan was to stay there for 2 days, explore the place and the local market, and then leave for Siliguri. When we started the trek, it seemed arduous. However, when we look back, the journey was worth a try, not just because of the pristine valleys and picturesque mountains, but also for the experience, the people we met, the culture that we learned about, the hardships that we saw, and most importantly, the memories that we made. It was really sad to bid adieu to Nepal, but we knew that we were coming back for another memorable journey.